I want to come back to the beginning of the story where this book all sprung from, and that is your journal entries. So you started journaling all the way back at age 14, which I mean there's probably, a group of people that start journaling that young, but it takes a unique person to pick it up at that age and especially continue it on over the years.
Yeah.
So come back to 14 and talk about what was happening in your life that you decided, I got to start writing this down and keeping a log.
So 14, you're going through puberty, you're coming into adolescence, that age-ish. Things are changing with your body. You're starting to get some new freedoms. You got a driver's license coming up. You just got just had a good girlfriend that just broke up with me. Why? Getting some pimples on my face. Why? All those
It
questions.
could have been the mink oil.
It was the mink oil just about 1 year later. And that was not just a few pimples on the face. If you want a real laugh at me, check out the mink oil story in Greenlights. So I think it was just the awkward time of that any adolescent goes through. Now, you know what the thing is you bring up a question I haven't really, I've thought about it and I think it's worth talking about those. Like, why did I continue? I tell you what happened is I started to notice I would go to a movie theater, watch a film, and laugh at something in a full theater, and notice and then get nervous at the end because I was the only one laughing at that. And I remember, is that okay to laugh at that? And then the joke in the theater that the whole theater would laugh at, I would be like, what was so funny about that? And I'm starting to go, where are you? Is this okay? You weird, McConaughey? And then I remember going, let's write it down. Let's document this damn thing. Let's remember this. And so I remember starting to have some, and all the way through college, some sort of honor and pride in noticing where maybe my reaction or feeling to a situation seemed idiosyncratic or seemed to be on its own and not of the masses. I sort of would write these things down, my reactions of things that I thought were funny that no one else seemed to think were funny, things that made me mad that didn't seem to make other people mad, things that made me cry where no one else cried. I've always cried at the birth of something. I'll bawl at the story of the man who's released from jail 20 years later because he was wrongly incarcerated. That is a birth story to me. And I'm like, wow, man, that's beautiful. But I don't necessarily cry at the end of things, the death of things. I very quickly am like, my mind goes and heart goes, there's a beauty about the permanence, the impermanence of life, and the fact that things are destructed to then be constructed. Maybe that comes from being a believer as well. So I began to write these things down that I felt like where I was odd, where I didn't have the consensus sort of feel. The world was not reacting the same way as I was to certain things, and I was going through a time going, well, let's write it down because first, I want to make sure you're not being a tyrant, McConaughey. Are you okay? Is this okay? And my journals were my place to have my Socratic dialogue with it and to be a little bit more objective about it. And then, as I said, I started to take honor in these things where maybe I was a little bit different. So I continued to write. Now, we all know that when we have a journal, we usually go to it when we're in trouble, when we're confused, when we're down, when we got questions. And yes, the big question, why? The existential question of why was 80% of my early journals. Why? What are we doing here? What am I doing here? What's my purpose? Why did that person react to this? Why did the world do this? Why? I remember back then, there was like in high school, there was the idea that the Russians were coming and you could hear a plane go to Mach 2 and everyone would go, take cover. And you're like, no, it's just a plane going to Mach 2. But there was like these scares and how much of it was factual or not, or just in my 17-year-old mind, I'm not sure. But the why question, the existential question of why was on my mind a lot. What's the purpose of life, the meaning of life? What am I doing in it? What agent am I in it? And then I started to get some answers. I started to get some times in my life where I was succeeding. times where I was on my frequency, so to speak. I started to succeed. I started to have some successful relationships with people, different ages, elders, women, men, children, a job. Started to get like a successful sort of dance in life. My grades were good. I'm going to college. This is all I get. I'm in a flow. I continued to write then. And I remember telling myself, you need to continue to write now that you feel like things are figured out. Because I had a hunch, small hunch. It was a minority hunch, but a hunch that it won't always be like this. Because you know how it is when things are going well. We're like, perfect. I found it. That's the mean. I got it. Locked. I can't lose it. There's no way to lose this. I got it. It's so clear. It's so simple. Well, we know that either we will implode the situation or something will happen in the world from the outside that will implode our situation. And we'll be off the rails again, trying to figure out what the hell's going on to get back on frequency. So I wrote down things. I remember writing to myself, dissect your success, man. Dissect when you're happy. Dissect when you're sleeping well. Dissect when your relationships are going well. Dissect when you're laying down at the end of the night and you see the day clearly. Where you see that your relationships evolved from yesterday, where you feel like you grew, where you feel like you were honest, where you sacrificed something and it paid off tomorrow. So I started dissecting those things and shoot, I mean, a lot of that, as I get to this point in this conversation, a lot of that's kind of what the book is about. Sacrifices, delayed gratification, mixed with a lot of immediate gratification. I think the book's a lot about sometimes how we have to write the headline for where we want to go in life. Write the headline first, then live your story to it. But it's also at least a balanced mix of don't chase the headline. Jump off and take the risk and figure out how to fly on the way down. Just tie your shoes and get out the damn door. That's the hardest part. Go give it a shot. Don't know what's going to happen. You know, with those walkabouts, I don't know. They were one-way tickets. What was I going to look for? I don't know. But I'm just going to put myself in a position where hopefully what I need to know lands on me or I figure it out. And that's a lot, I think, is in there lies the art of living for all of us. We want to have goals. We want to have ideas and aspirations that we seek, that we chase. They're written. Write them down. Chase it. At the same time, you know, the hands of coincidence and fate and magic that happen in life, be open to that and being inspired along the way and find yourself taking a route that you didn't plan on taking. That's the jump off and figure out how to fly on the way down. Just go sometimes I say this in the book. It's not always about what decision we make. Just make one and commit to it. Just do it. Don't be caught in limbo of measuring, well, should I do this? Should I do this? Day and day and day and day and day again, or all of a sudden you look up, it's a year, 2 years. It's a decade later. It's a lifetime later. When you're just like, man, back then which decision didn't matter as much as just taking one and going with it and finding out.